Last week I did a review of this book, the Cambridge Interlinear Bible in goatskin, and this week I'd like to show a more recent version of the same book. I bought the goatskin version in 2007, so this is the one that's on the market today, and I'll show you the box. What I'd like to do mainly in the video today is to describe the changes between the two. So you have my 23-ish minute video that you can use as a baseline, and then here we'll just concentrate on the deltas. Here are the 13-digit ISBN for the Cambridge Interlinear Bible. One of the things I've noticed is that sources on the internet seem confused about the size of this book. If you go to evangelicalbible.com, they will tell you the book is 9 inches by 6 3/4. You actually do the measurements yourself. You get 9.5 tall, and you measure carefully the width. You get, it looks like about 7 5/16 wide. So it's considerably larger than the dimensions that they give you at evangelicalbible.com. I think what they're providing there when they say 9 by 6 3/4 inches, those are the page dimensions. So what I'll do is I will set the camera up to show you some of the major differences. Before I do that, we'll just take a quick look at some of them right here. One of the things you notice is ribbons. The older Cambridge Interlinear Bible had 3 kind of ragged-ended 3/8 of an inch wide ribbons. The newer one has 2 ribbons. They're cut square. They're about 1 1.25 inches shorter. They're just too short, really. And they're about 1/16 of an inch more narrow. So that's 5/16 of an inch wide. The art gilting on the new one is better than that on my original, which is a manufacturing flaw on the part of the original book, the older book. If I line them up so that you can see them side by side, you will be able to tell that the newer book is thicker, but the leather doesn't extend as far. The leather seems like it's 1/16 of an inch less wide. So if we line them up at the bottom, you look at the top here, and you can see the goatskin extends farther. The text block of the goatskin appears more narrow. That's not entirely due to differences in paper. It's also due to the fact that the newer Interlinear Bible has more pages of both index pages, and the map is longer. So we'll change things around and we'll shoot the interior. Coming to the liner, one of the things you notice right away is that the goatskin is marked as goatskin. The liners appear to be very similar. The flexibility of the 2 leathers is quite close, as is the thickness. The goatskin has this tooled line, boundary line around it, that's absent from the calfskin version. The 2 books, the goatskin on the left, the calfskin on the right, both appear to be printed very well, very sharply printed everywhere. One thing that is different is that the new calfskin is printed and bound in the Netherlands, whereas the older goatskin book was printed in Great Britain at the University Press. The paper is different. This has, in the calfskin, has more of a tissue-like quality. It's a softer paper. This on the goatskin appears firmer, tougher. It may have more fiber to it. I'm not sure, but it seems like a stronger paper. The paper in the Calfskin Bible has a tendency to curl at the edges, and it's one of those papers that you don't want to leave your fingers in contact with very long, because you'll leave an imprint on it. It's also creamy in color, which I think does actually add to the reading experience. It doesn't increase the contrast. I think it decreases it slightly, but there's something pleasant about the light cream color. Here you can see a difference in format that also leads to a difference in thickness. I have up on the stand the 2007 Goatskin edition, and you notice that it begins immediately after the Bible Companion with index to notes, and it's in a 2-column format. In the Calfskin, you have a title page for the index of notes, and then you get to a single page with A and a single page with B. So essentially you have twice as many pieces of paper, twice as many sheets in the Calfskin as in the Goatskin. In the Goatskin book, when you get to the end of the index for notes, you are immediately at the lined paper section, which has vertical bars separating the left and the right column. At the same spot in the Calfskin edition, you end with the single page for Z, and then you have 1, 2 more sheets of white paper separating the index section from the note paper section. The note paper section does not have the horizontal bars, and the Goatskin appears to be college ruled. This is more of a standard line spacing. More lines here, fewer lines here, but more room to write. As I mentioned earlier, the two books have the same number of lined pages. When you get to the end of the lined pages in the Goatskin book, you're immediately at the Bible Maps index. In the Calfskin book, you have a title page for Bible maps, a list of Bible maps, and then you get to the map index. Move forward through several pages of map index, and you find yourself at the Moody Bible Institute of Chicago's Bible Maps, copyright 1986. In the Goatskin book, at the end of just a couple of pages of index, you are at the Oxford University Press maps. You have in the Goatskin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 maps. In the Calfskin, you have 15 maps. One of them is of modern Israel. Why a map of modern Israel belongs in a Bible, I don't know, but there it is. The leather appears to be fairly close in terms of thickness and suppleness. Calfskin on top, Goatskin on the bottom. I would say that the Goatskin feels slightly more supple, but not very. I have some other Calfskin books here for comparison. This is the Church Bible Publishers Turquoise. It is much more flexible than the Cambridge Interlinear Bible. It's thinner as well. This is an ironed Calfskin book. I have here the American printing of the New American Standard Bible Updated Edition wide margin. This is the side column reference in Calfskin. This is again the one that was printed in America, that came in the cloth case, and it also is much more flexible Calfskin. You can just twist it around, turn it at ease. The calfskin that this Cambridge Interlinear Bible reminds me most of is the calfskin here in the Schuyler Canterbury. It seems to be about as thick, about as stiff. I would say, if anything, the Canterbury leather is a little more stiff than the Cambridge Interlinear Bible, but they're very close to each other. Two books are very similar in size, too. Cambridge Interlinear Bible is wider. They're very similar in other features, size-wise. Out of curiosity to see if I could write in the calfskin version without causing too much bleed through, I wrote the word test in the lower right-hand corner of the Bible Companion's last page. So we'll turn that over and see if you can see what it looks like on the other side. So I think you can see it on the other side, but it doesn't look like any ink actually came through. So my sense is it's about as opaque as the Cambridge wide margin Bibles. That is, the paper shows as much bleed through, or as little bleed through, as the Cambridge Interlinear New King James Version, which I have. I mentioned earlier that the pages curl. I've had this page exposed to air. The top, of course, is exposed to the air, and the bottom was against the piece of paper underneath it. So either moisture came in from the atmosphere into the paper or escaped from the paper into the atmosphere, but for whichever reason, the paper tends to curl. One final difference I may have forgotten to note earlier is in the spine. The goatskin Bible has King James Version and Revised Version here. Between these sets of tooled lines, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pair of tooled lines in both. The calfskin version separates King James Version and Revised Version into different segments and deletes the word and. This Cambridge insignia here is actually much nicer, much more easy to interpret than the version on the goat skin. I think this may have been older, and so it's been redone, and it's much more distinct. You can actually see the unicorn. I mentioned in my review of the goatskin version that it's somewhat difficult to turn pages. You can make the pages turn easily enough, but the question is how one gets accurately and quickly from one book to another. And without using both hands, it's kind of tricky. And I think that's largely because the pages are so long and limp. I have the same difficulty here in the calfskin edition of the Cambridge Interlinear Bible that I have in my goatskin, even though the goatskin is a bit different in that its pages wave a bit and are a little bit stronger. To get rapidly from one book to another is just a little difficult because you can't flip the pages easily as you can in a book with smaller pages with the book title in the outer edge. So that's it. Quick overview. Cambridge Interlinear Bible in calfskin.